Welcome back, welcome to part 10. Part 9 we fitted the dust seal on the lid, and that's all done and working great. At the same time I also fitted the lower skirt or plinth. As you can see, it's all done, just ready to take the clamps off, but I couldn't fit it on part 9, so here we are on part 10. So let's have a look at how to fit it. While the upper dust seal's in clamp, I've just jumped ahead and started cutting the first corner on the plinth. It's the same process. Obviously you've just got to be a bit more careful going around because you've got to make all 4 corners fit. And I'll probably will counterbore them and screw them on. It just saves having big clamps all around it. That is an advantage of having it on casters. You can get clamps underneath and clamp it front to back, side to side. But I'll probably just screw them on, and I'll put one panel on, get 2 pieces on to form 1 corner joint, screw that all together and then work on the other. But I'll do that on the next video. I just wanted to show you while I had the saw set up. I've jumped ahead. I've cut as many ends as I can now without having to scribe, so I've got 1 corner to do. I've cut that one end of the back one, so once I've scribed this end and then cut the other end, I can then fit this corner. Once I've fitted this corner, I'll have 2 long pieces coming down. I can scribe both ends of these 2. I've already cut the corner of this one, so I can put that up against there, and then that just leaves me this corner to do. So I've done as much as I can for now, but I'll wait until it's out of clamp and then I can move it around a bit easier. The easiest way I find to do the lower skirt is the height of the casters is 75mm. There's a 50mm wheel, and then overall it's 75. So I've just got some 75mm offcuts that I put underneath so that I can rest the skirt on them, and then I just use these 600mm Axminster clamps that I've got, that I can just then hold it in position, and then I can put the end one on, so that I get a half decent joint. So it still needs a bit of adjustment, but actually it's not too bad, and by the time it's glued and clamped in position, it'll be fine. So now I can scribe that end, cut that one, and then I'll probably pop some counterbore holes in both these pieces, get them in position. I'll scribe the other end of that one first and cut that one, and then I'll work my way around. And then the gluing up and clamping and counterboring is pretty much the same as we've done in the previous episodes, videos, whatever you want to call them. So I'm not going to show every single step of this. I'm just going to work my way around, gluing, clamping, cutting, adjusting, just as we've done with the other pieces, until I've got that all glued up, and then I'll decide on what sort of size bevel I want, and then I'll hand plane that. That's the front, and I've done 5 counterbore holes, 8mm with a 4mm clearance, because I'm putting 4mm thick screw or 4mm gauge screws in, 30mm long, because I know how much I've sunk it in, I know how much screw's going to stick out, and I know the thickness of my sides, and I don't want to come out of the other side. Now you might use a different thickness of skirt, so you're going to have to work it out yourself as to what size screws you want. I've put 3 screws in the end. Well, I haven't put screws in there yet, but I've drilled them. So I'm going to get the first corner on, bit of glue, get those screwed on. I've already scribed and trimmed that one, and I've already done the same with this one. So I know that one fits because I've tried it with the others. And then I'll work my way around, and I've got my blocks underneath, and I'll just work quickly around. I've just pushed on with it. I've put a spare piece of ply in there just to lean the lid forward so I can work around the back. The front's screwed on with a bit of glue as well. Same with this end. I've just counterbored the back part. That's just sitting there at the minute. I haven't screwed it in or anything or put any glue on. And then once that one's done, I can then pop round the end here, and I've got the end part just to cut the mitre at the other end until it just fits in. So I'll secure the one at the back first, And then by the time I knock off today, the top is glued, and the bottom is glued. I might even be able to take the clamps off the top and just see if it shuts all right. Right, screws, check, glue, check, screwdriver, yeah, cup of tea, clamps. Right, let's get these done. Right, last one. So the others are all glued and screwed. This one might need a little bit of adjustment, but that'll go up nicely by the time I counter bore it. 3 screws in that and glued. And then that's done, apart from doing the planing the bevel once it's all, the glue's cured. So I can take the last clamp off. That's it. So the next step, which I'll include, because it's the same thing for the lower skirt and the upper dust seal, is to just pencil out some bevel lines and use the most appropriate plane, or the plane that you prefer, to plane the bevel on them, just being careful on your corners. I don't like a massive bevel on them, so just a little block plane is fine for me. But you know, you could whip along now with a number 3 or a number 4 plane, fine. Sometimes you might have to put the brakes onto it, put a couple of wedges underneath it, or even push it up against the end of a bench and put your knee on the top of it. Whatever you find works for you. And then just stand back and have a look at it every now and again and say, well, is that bevel enough? You can always make the bevel a bit more, but obviously, as we all know, you can't put wood back on. So really, we just need to do those little touches to it. And then in part 11, we'll do the stay at the back. And obviously we've left these overhanging, so the stay will be fitted and probably come to about here. Once the stay is fitted on for the lid, we'll then cut these off flush so that everything lines up at the back. So that's what we'll have a look at next, the bevels. The other job to do, which is a repeat again, but I'll just go through it, is plug in the counter bores. We drilled these with an 8mm Forstner. In part 8, we made the plugs to go on them. I've just reduced the length of them so that the thicker part goes in, because obviously we didn't drill these counter bores too deep. I've put a line on to show, well, I've put a cross on to show that's the end that goes in, and I've put a line on to remind me of the grain direction. I'm not going to film doing all of them, but if I just do a couple. Bit of glue in there. Oh, and the one thing is as well is remember, just to, with a normal screwdriver, just test all the screws have gone up as tight as you think. You never know, on your cordless the torque control might have cut in a bit too early. So, and once these plugs are in, you can't tighten them. So this is your opportunity. Just go around and check them all. So again, I can put the plug in. I've got my line going across in the grain. Tap it home. Now just to flush cut them off, I'm going to put my knee on top of the tool chest so it doesn't wobble as much while I'm filming. So I'm going to have to reach down, but so easy. And then you can just whip the sandpaper over the top of it, give it a little clean, not that it needs it. More pencil mark than anything. So I'll whip round and do all those now, take me a few minutes. Okay, so looking at the bevel that we've got on the front of our lid, on our lid seal, I'm not going to go around and show you how to plane every single piece of timber and put a bevel on. It's just using a plane and marking it out and planing it. I'll just do a little bit on this one. But just to say, you've got options as to how you do it. Some people might even want it, you can make it how you want. Some people might round it over, some people might use all sorts of different tools to do it. Some people might put a very small, just remove the arris along the edge of it. Some people might put a really, angled bevel on it. You can also either just do it by freehanding with a pencil and your finger, which we often do on things like this. I often do that. I trust myself to do that accurately. You can set your combination square to, say, for example, 5mm, and put it on there and run it along with a pencil up against it, just like we did on the other marking out. Or if you really want to, you could even set your marking gauge and go. You'll leave a little cut line in there, which you can normally see a little piece of timber when you hit it. It will leave a very slight line in there, but you're going to sand it, you're going to paint it, you'll never see it. So you've got options. Same with tools. I like my little Lee Nielsen 102 block plane. It's my favourite. Any opportunity to use it for me is fine. I don't have to worry about keeping straight along here. It's pretty easy. Don't need a big bulky plane, and if you do, you'll start hitting here with the side of the plane anyway. So this is ideal. So again, you know, you can put your knee up on the and just keep the brakes are on, and I can just run this along and just start to take nice shavings. And if I've got a line, I can check it every now and again and see if I'm taking more from one end than the other. As the bevel starts to grow, you've then got more reference for the bottom of the plane, the sole of the plane to sit on. So if you start it off at the right angle, at your 45 or whatever angle you're looking for, quite soon the shavings will obviously get bigger. I'm going to carry on with the planing now. I'll use the block plane all around the top. If I feel like I want to lift the tool chest up on the bench and work on it up at height to do the lower skirt, that's what I'll probably do. Sometimes I might swap up to a slightly bigger plane for doing the skirt, because it's a little bit thicker, so it sticks out a bit. You've got a little bit more clearance, but I probably won't. I'll probably stick to the block plane and enjoy using it. So the next part will be part 11. Next time you'll see it in part 11 when I start fitting the lid stay. I'll have probably finished doing all the bevels by then, so you'll see what they look like on here and we can look at the sizes of them. If not, you'll see it completed in one of the other parts. Just depends on when I get time to finish it off. So thank you for watching. Stick some comments and some likes, and I'll see you in part 11, lid stay. Thank you.